Hello, listeners. You are listening to Que Madre and Warrior Mother. We're missing our beloved sister, Ali Cortez, with Bienestar CCC. But February, she will have a more open schedule to be with us more. So you are joining Siobhan Hoover and myself, Ana Rosa Rizo Centino. And just by coincidence, we happen to both put our hair in braids, which I don't usually do. I think we're on the same wavelength as usual.
Oh, we are, yes. The vibe is real.
So I'll hand it over to you to introduce our themes for today.
So today we have a couple topics, but one in particular that has been kind of heavy on my heart, and I'm sure those of you listening as well, is kind of managing our expectations with others, whether it be in our work life, in our love life, with our children, with our friends, with our families. Managing expectations can alleviate quite a bit of stress. And then something else we're going to cover is the idea of hustle and how taxing that can be, and how that might add a lot of pressure to your life. So we're kind of just trying to find ways to alleviate stresses in our life. Everyone knows that stress can be a way to make yourself sick, either physically or emotionally or mentally. So how do we get around these things that make us crazy?
Well,
Mhm.
can I just say that I actually think both are super connected because, like in previous jobs where I went in with really high expectations around being wanting to be treated like a human being, and then realizing that that just was not going to happen, like I internalized that, like their behavior into my like being, and like I got sick because of that. So that's why I feel like both are very connected. And after going through those experiences, it like made my expectations go much lower. So now I'm like very pleasantly surprised in my new situation because now I expect very little and people are like giving me a lot of love. And it's almost like I had to realize how bad things could be for me to appreciate the good.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't feel that enough people well, I can't say enough people don't realize it, but I don't think that it's a thought in the forefront of our minds when we go into a job situation, right? And you have all these ideas about how it's going to be, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to be treated well and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, when it's not, you're incredibly disappointed, and you're like, well, wait a second, this is not what I signed up for. So, I mean, in the workplace, it's really difficult to manage the expectations, because I mean, I think in general, like you would think people would treat you well and with respect and kindness and all of that. What I've come to learn is that not everybody has a heart like mine. and and sometimes, the letdown is it can make you ill if you allow it to, if you dwell on it. So at all times, I'm always trying to move energy through my body, physically, like mentally, with breathing, those sort of tools that we always talk about. But, even in your love life, you have to think, okay, well, if I have certain expectations of my partner, sure. And that's just like your basics, right? You expect to be loved in return and respected and these sort of things. But if you have unrealistic expectations, perhaps you think that your partner should do all the cooking and all the cleaning, and you both work jobs at 40 hours a week, and so you equally have um, a large workload, some more than others. um, but if your expectations are unrealistic in your partner, that's going to cause you a lot of grief and a lot of discomfort, a lot of disappointment, and really you're kind of setting yourself up for that.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying don't have any expectations in your relationships, but manage them and understand what is reasonable and what isn't. Um, there were many times in past relationships where I was, well, I don't think I'm asking for anything unreasonable. And I was like, I wasn't. And, you know, things turned out the way they turned out, but ultimately it was me who had to say, oh, you know what? Here's my basic level of expectations. Anything over and beyond that, you know, that's it's like, oh, if I'm receiving that, that's a bonus, you know. And for our children, right? I mean, that's huge. And even if you're not a parent, you do have expectations of children in a way that kind of like the same things, you know, basic respect, love. You kind of expect them to act out every once in a while because they do. Uh, but you know, I always tell my children, I have certain expectations of you, and you know that is the bare minimum. When you go over and beyond that, you know, that means that you're striving to be better.
Mhm. Well, I think it also begs the question, what brought certain expectations into our mind, like specifically with romantic partners? Because I think of, growing up as a young girl and just the things that we would see on screen, like, the whole Disney idea of the princess and the Prince Charming, um, and being swept away. Like, I feel like those kinds of things are unrealistic, and it makes us almost blind to what our partner can offer that may be different from that vision, you know? Because if you grew up with those expectations, life is not a fairy tale. So while you can have a partner who, you know, brings a lot of other things to the table, are you able to see those other things? Or are you just expecting like that one mold, you know? Um,
Yeah.
so I
I'm
think
so
that's
glad you
important to
said that.
question. That's really important to question. And then with kids, it's also like, how did we grow up? What were the expectations that our parents had of us? And then how does that influence the expectations that then we have of our kids? Like for my parents, they really only asked for me to just try my best. Like with school, they never asked me to bring home a report card with straight A's. They're like, if it's your best, it's your best, and that's cool, you know? But I wanted to go above and beyond, you know? Um, but just knowing that that underlying love was there, that's what helped me want to do more.
You want to please them, you want to make them happy. And yes, absolutely. You know, I'm glad that you said that about romantic relationships and like the movies and Disney cartoons and the princess being saved and, you know, all that sort of thing. And how some of these movies are starting to change. Where, you know, the one movie that I really like, I was like, oh, okay, this is not about love's first kiss, you know, and all this was Frozen. And I was really it like I was kind of taken aback, but then I was like really pleased with how it was like, no, this is about sisterly love. This is about love for our family and you know how we can save ourselves, you know, in a way. Um so I the societal pressure of you know, even like, you know, you go to school, then you go to college, then you know, meet your partner and you get married and then you have kids. And, you know, I did not do things in that way and in that order at all. And, you know, and I don't think that there's any right or wrong way to do it. I think that just however people want to live their lives is just fine. So,
Yeah, I think it's important to start that process of breaking down the binaries and the chronological order of things, because we're all so different and we live different lives. So what makes sense to you might not make sense to me or another person, but it's
mhm.
your life. So that's, that comes with dignity and the way that you want to live it. So on that note, I'm just going to do station identification. You're listening to KZAA 96.5 FM. with Siobhan Hoover and Ana Rosa Rizzo Centino. We're missing Ali Cortez today, but we're hoping to have her in February. Yeah, so say more on that tip, Siobhan.
What was I saying? Oh, it was we were breaking down like societal timelines and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
And
Yes.
how like the nuclear family and, you know, which also comes with heteronormativity, right? Homophobia,
Yes.
which we cannot normalize. It's very damaging behavior to do that, and to make people think that they have to do things only one way. That is, you know, a lot of times the religious right exercising their power in ways that it shouldn't be exercised, especially when we're talking about, you know, the fact that there are a variety of ways to see things. And at the very base of it all, it should be based on love, and that every human being, no matter what your sexual orientation is, has dignity, and we need to love each other regardless of anything.
Right. And somewhere that changes, you know, I was thinking like in school, you know, you get into grade school, into junior high, into high school, and you see more of these like, well, here's what's normal, you know, normal. I'm doing my little air quotes here.
For those
But
listening on the radio and not on YouTube.
yes. But you know, I was thinking in taking early childhood education courses and being certified there. So, you know, part of learning about early childhood education is a lot about tolerance and differences, and you know how to talk to children about differences. And there were so many books on you know, families, like what different families look like. And you know, I remember having conversations with my own kids. I had some coworkers, and she had a wife, and you know, and my son was kind of sitting there, and he was like looking back and forth, and I was like, oh, you know, this is her wife, you know, say nice to meet you, kind of thing. And then afterwards, we're in the car, and he said, you said that's her wife, and I said, yeah, you know, some families have, you know, two moms, two dads, a mom and a dad. Sometimes families like a grandma, sometimes, you know, family might be just a friend. And I said, I said, every family looks a little bit different, you know, and I'm glad that you noticed that, like you noticed the difference. Awesome. But also it's just like everybody, you know, it's teaching the children that it's okay, that actually is normal, you know. Um, so it's, you know, it's funny that once the children do get older, they don't see something changes somewhere. And I personally believe that perhaps we need to revisit certain lessons, even in the older grades.
Well, yeah, we get so many messages too about, you know, blood is thicker than water, but we need to be open to different realities, and that not everybody has a family that's loving and
Mhm.
open. And so we need to also be welcoming of folks who get to choose their own family, right? And that their family is their friends. And those are the people that are empowering to them and loving to them. And I know I have a lot of friends. I mean, I have a great family too, but I have a lot of friends that are like family, you know, and I think of them in the same way. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, just feeding those relationships that feed you.
Which is even like more valuable because that's the family that you choose for yourself. That's the family that you're like, these are my people. This is who I want in my life. And I'm so glad that you said that too about family. It just reminded me of this like quote. It was like, you know, unconditional love does not mean unconditional tolerance. And certainly you can love people, but you can also love them from afar. I'm not sure if we talked about this or not
We did,
already.
but I think some messages need to be repeated, um,
Mhm.
because not everyone listens to every episode. So we want to make sure. people get certain messages that are really important. And I think that that is definitely one of them.
Yes, write it down if you need to, but yes. Love does not mean unconditional tolerance, and continuing to tolerate behavior that is toxic and unnerving to you is certainly, you shouldn't have to be forced into that. So, yeah, managing expectations of family can be that way.
Definitely. I'll know I'm in your inner circle when I get invited to brunch.
Yeah. Come with us on Sunday. I'll talk to you off air, but yeah, we got lunch lined up, and I would love for you to join us.
So, I will be hosting a vision boarding session on the 28th at Community Roots Garden if folks are interested in showing up. So my friend Jessica started this at her house, but as every year has gone by, it's kind of grown. So this year I'm hosting it, and the Community Roots Garden is located in Oxnard. So if you would like details as to what time we'll be meeting up, feel free to message me, anarosalacasa@gmail.com.
Yes, I would like to. Please send me the information.
I will.
No, and you know what? And vision boards are always great for the beginning of the year as well. It's like you can kind of like lay out your plan. So valuable here. Hey, and we have a visitor,
My
a
daughter,
special
Gloria.
guest.
What do you want to share with our listeners, Gloria?
I didn't.
We're going to a birthday party. That's why
Ooh,
she's all dressed up.
well,
It's
that's
a-
exciting. I love a party and I love a reason to celebrate. So I'm always trying to find reasons to celebrate. And there's always someone's, we're like, it's always somebody's birthday. I'm like, well, it is, yeah.
So the says it'll be after we give the gift. I just want to share that I am so excited about this gift that we got this little girl, because it's a llama
Her name is
unicorn.
Michelle. Her name is
Yes,
Michelle.
her name is Michelle.
Happy
It's a llama
birthday.
unicorn. Have you ever seen that?
No, I feel like I want one.
It's at Target.
Yeah, but we're now telling you to shop there since we're a non-commercial station, but that just happens to be we got it.
How cute. Well, I'm sure you're gonna have a great time at the party. I do love the celebration.
I already have the shoes on.
She already has her shoes on. We're gonna head out in 10 minutes, baby.
Speaking of, how about like managing expectations with schedules and birthday parties, and oh gosh, this is a whole nother thing. We're gonna have to talk about saying no sometimes to things, which I have gotten better at, but not entirely good at saying no to, especially to events that I really want to attend. I kind of like pack my schedule in from time to time, and
Question.
and it's all like a constant thing. You're like, well, let me look at my calendar. Well, let me look at my calendar. I don't know if anybody else out there, any listeners are out there that also suffer from the same thing.
I don't know if
But
kids do this to you, but she does this thing of like the puppy dog eyes. So that makes it very hard for me to say no. And she knows that.
yeah, yes, I know. Oh gosh. Well, with my children being a little bit older now, so my son just turned 14, and then my daughter, she turns 12 in a couple weeks. And so I know it feels weird to say that. And they say the days are long and the years are short, and it's so true. It's that, like, day in and day out, you go through your routines, and some days are incredibly taxing or frustrating, or you're just tired in general. I feel like tired's the new normal. But it's like all of a sudden you have a teenager and you're like, wait, what? I'm not old enough to have a teenager yet. Wait a second. What's happening here? So
Here is when you turn 13, you're a teenager.
yeah. And something that that is also kind of like the pressure of having to attend parties and the pressure of, kind of trying to manage other people's expectations of you is also very challenging. Oh my gosh, you guys, I know their listeners can't see this, but there's like, it's like a baby goat. A baby goat.
Around. She's around like the Aries, like she's like your fellow Aries right here. When she
You know
gets an
what?
idea in her head, it has to happen.
Yes, you're in good company, Gloria.
She's the Aries too. She's your same sign.
Mhm.
She even has
Yes.
a costume from Halloween that she wore as an Aries.
Yeah.
I did. I was really proud of that costume too.
Those were super cool horns.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I love to dress up. So, in any case, we are aligning. We are managing schedules, managing expectations. We are, we're no longer so focused on the hustle. We're going to kind of slow things down and really ensure that our lives are exactly what we want them to be. Yes.
And she is manifesting what she wants with this birthday party situation.
I know.
She's
I love a lady who knows what she wants.
she started the countdown. We have 3 minutes left. So now is a good time to do station identification again. You're listening to KZAA 96.5 FM or YouTube. And thank you for subscribing. We've been steadily adding subscribers. So if you haven't done that yet, please do. And we already got our first interview secured with Graciela Cabello from Los Padres Forest Watch. And she will be talking to us about a variety of topics, including being women in the outdoors. And she loves Graciela too. We've done play dates with her and are planning another play date. And so that is our first interview. And we will be launching the podcast soon. And we're so excited that you're still listening to us. We love all our listeners. And please do suggest topics on our Instagram or YouTube that you would like to hear if we haven't covered them yet. Anything you'd like to say, Siobhan?
Just out there, keep in mind that we do need to manage our expectations with everything and everybody, and ensuring that our lives are being led by ourselves and not by others. That's my 2 cents.
Do take care of yourself and keep love at the center. And have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time on or you'll hear us on Thursday at Thursday at 6 p.m. And we do get replayed over the week, but that is for sure the time that we always get played is Thursday at 6 p.m. And the KZAA's website got relaunched, so definitely check out our website because you can see some of our episodes there as well. And this one is having a riot. She knows how to protest because I've taken her to so many protests and marches. So this is what I get.
Right thing there. Making strong little ladies. All right, everyone. Well, I hope everyone has a great evening, and we look forward to talking again soon.